guys, I am the CHALL, your Doncaster Rovers fan channel, and welcome to today's second DRFC Daily Reports. We're giving you a double header today because we've got two massive stories that have come out in the last few hours. Two big stories. One of them on the injuries to Tulloch and James. That story is going to affect our predicted lineup for this weekend against Bristol Rovers in a big way. And the second story is about Charlie Seaman's contract. So before we get started, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you never miss another Donny video. And for now, guys, let's get into talking about the latest on this episode of the DRFC Daily Report. So let's start off with the injuries to Tulloch and James. So, according to the Free Press, the boss has given injury updates on Reece, James and Tulloch, and they'll be without Tulloch for 2 to 3 weeks due to the injury he suffered against Charlton. So the 19-year-old was withdrawn after only 13 minutes at the Valley with a hamstring issue and was replaced by Jason Lakilo, who, as we all know from my review, did just as good. But the boss, Darren Moore, has revealed the diagnosis was rather positive given the circumstance, with Tulloch unlikely to miss much football, with Rovers' fixture programme set to intensify significantly through October. Now, Moore has told the Free Press we suspect he's got a little bit of strain in his hamstring that we'll have to nurse him through. He went on to say we did the right thing in taking him off. He would have made it worse. We anticipate that it might be a couple of weeks. Considering that's not too bad. There was even more positive news regarding another player withdrawn at the weekend, with Reece James given a clean bill of health after being assessed on Monday. Now, the left back was taken off in the final quarter of an hour against the Addicts, with Moore revealing again he acted with caution in making the substitution with positive results. So he said Reece James is fine. It was more of a precaution due to the fatigue element. Reece hasn't had a lot of football, so it was the right decision to take him off. He missed much of pre-season and Rovers' programme of friendlies, of course, you guys know, after suffering the groin injury shortly after the squad returned to training back in August this year. So big story there. Tulloch is out for 2 to 3 weeks. That's not the best of news, but it's better than what it could have been. And fair play to Darren Moore for taking him off earlier on, because I think if he left him on too long, he would have made it worse. He'd have been out for a few weeks, going into months. And, you know, he played the right cards there. So 2 to 3 weeks. We've got Lakilo in that position, but it kind of strengthens my idea about at least 1 or 2 positions that we need to, you know, improve in terms of squad depth, and that is the right wing and the left wing. I said all along, we need a right back, we need another out-and-out striker, and we need a right wing and a left wing, just to provide competition for the likes of Halliday, John Jules, Knockanaberry, and then on the wing positions to provide competition for Lakilo and Taylor. Tulloch already does that, but with now him injured, we now don't have an out-and-out winger for either side. That's Lakilo and Taylor's job. But hopefully we can get that done while Tulloch is out for 2 to 3 weeks. And with James, you know, even though he's all good to go, I would, and this is a bit of a spoiler for my predicted lineup on Friday, I would put James on the bench personally, because I think he's just going to, you know, rest it, wait for it, and I think I'd put James on the bench, then bring him on maybe with the last half an hour. Darren Moore could do the opposite. They could bring him on to the starting lineup on Saturday and give him a full run out. But I wouldn't want to risk that injury just in case. You know, even though he's 100% and he's all right, you know, even though it's more of a fatigue thing, I think that I think it's better to start with Amos and then bring on Danny James for like the last Reece James. Sorry, why did I say Danny James? Reece James for the last half an hour. So, you know, that's what I'm thinking about it. But I think Lakilo will replace Tulloch in the starting lineup on Saturday. And, you know, I think on the bench, maybe they'll bring in one of the youth midfielders like a Hassani or something. Or if we can get Charlie Seaman done by the end of this week, then maybe he comes onto the bench and it provides the backup option for Halliday. Speaking of Charlie Seaman, let's go into our second and final story of the second Daily Reports episode today, speaking about Seaman's contract. So this one is quickly turning into a saga in itself, and that is the contract situation for one of our trialists and the now former Bournemouth fullback, right back, Charlie Seaman. Now, Darren Moore, according to the Free Press, has given right back Charlie Seaman until the end of the week to make his decision on whether to sign for Doncaster Rovers. The 20-year-old and his representatives have been in negotiation for Rovers for more than a week after he was offered a contract following a successful trial with the club. But Moore has now set a deadline at the end of this week for a decision from the former Bournemouth fullback, after which he will move on to other positions and other options for the position. I had a chat with his representatives yesterday and we're still back and forth at the moment. This is what Moore told the Free Press. It's now back into their hands and they're probably going to come back to me inside the next 24 to 48 hours or as soon as they possibly can. We've not reached an agreement yet and that is where we're at. We'll wait and see. I'm hoping certainly by the end of this week that we'll have something done, otherwise I'll have to draw a line under it. Now, of course, if you want the sort of background behind this transfer, Seaman joined in training with Rovers late last month and featured in the friendly against the Man United under-21s. We beat them 5-0, which was a good scoreline for us. He's a former scholar with AFC Bournemouth. He signed a professional terms in 2018, but was released earlier this summer without making a senior appearance for the club. But he did spend time on loan at non-league clubs Maidstone United and Eastleigh, along with Scottish club Dundee United. Moore hopes to add cover at right back, with Brad Halliday the only out-and-out option in his position, and he seems Seaman is the perfect fit. He said to the Free Press, "We've got people in the team that can fill in there if it does come down to it, but with Charlie we can see him as an out-and-out one that can step in there. That is why we're pursuing him, and he's the right type for us of where we are. If we can do it, then great, but at the moment we've not reached an agreement yet. Hopefully we can by the end of the week." Of course, you guys know that Rovers have signed trialists in the past this season, Andy Butler and Ed Williams following their successful trials this summer, and we were, of course, preparing a formal offer to Jordan Davis, the midfielder, who, of course, as you guys know, opted to join Wrexham. So there we go, that is the update on the Charlie Seaman contract. A decision by the end of this week is the deadline from Darren Moore. Now, I think the difference between this and the Sancho saga at Man United and Dortmund is that this one might actually end at a deadline. You guys know that one with Sancho. I mean, that had a deadline and now it's gone way past that deadline. We still haven't got a definitive answer. This one, though, will have a definitive deadline. Next 28 to 48 hours, hopefully we'll hear something from the club. But, you know, I think it's more likely we'll get an answer by the end of this week or just before the Bristol Rovers game on Saturday. And I've said in the past, Charlie Seaman is a great option to have as an out-and-out right-back. And the fact that if he doesn't come in, you know, he said that players can play in those positions, like players can, you know, play in the right-back position. To be honest, the only player that we had that I could see as a right-back was a former right-winger, and that was, of course, Matty Blair. So it kind of makes me wish we kept him now, because, you know, he could have come in useful. But, you know, he's gone to Charlton, we can do well. Well done, Matty Blair. Good on you, mate. Thanks for watching the videos as well. But I think if Charlie Seaman doesn't come in, I think we do need to look at other options. We can't just versatile players in right back positions, because, you know, I think we've made that mistake with Cameron John. He's a centre back, not a left back, but I can kind of see why they're doing it, because of course you can't get ahead of Tom Anderson and Joe Wright at the minute. They're just unstoppable together. So I can understand why, you know, they want to transition John to a left back, because he wants to also play in that role, and also you can't get ahead of Anderson and Wright, which is the unstoppable gruesome twosome at the minute for Rovers. So I can see why they want a versatile players in different positions. We can see why the youngster AJ Greaves is, you know, versatile into a right back as well as a centre midfielder during the pre-season to fill in for backup to Brad Halliday. But he's a centre midfielder. He's not a right back, so you know, he can enjoy his month loan at Gainsborough Trinity. But I do think that if Charlie Seaman doesn't sign for the club, we do need to look at other options. Comment down below any options that you think we should get. I don't think we're looking at trialists at this point. I think all the wave of trialists over this pre-season has come and gone. Charlie Seaman's the last one we're deciding on, the last trialist that we're deciding on. So after that, whether it does or it doesn't happen, that's it for trialists. We've got to look in the market now. We've got to look at options. And if we don't get an option, then we've got to hope Brad Halliday does not get injured. At least up until January. And then January we continue that transfer hunt and try and continue looking for players. But I think, you know, January is usually the time for League One clubs where you get like your 6 month contracts and things like that. So, it should be interesting to see what happens between now and the end of the window, and if something doesn't happen between the start of the main period of the season outside the window and going into January. So I hope we don't get an injury to Halliday if we don't end up getting a right back. Will Greaves get used at right back if Halliday gets injured and his month loan at Gainsborough Trinity ends? Maybe. And will Greaves do a job? Maybe. I don't know. But I would rather look for an out-and-out option if Charlie Seaman doesn't sign a contract. But he's impressed on trial. I think he'd be a good player for the position. And, even though he didn't make a senior appearance for them, he is from a former Premier League club like Bournemouth again. So, he's perfect for the kind of recruitment that we've been doing, both permanently and loan deals with Premier League clubs. So I think that he'd be the perfect mould for a Darren Moore team. So there we go. So hopefully we'll get a decision by the end of the week if Darren Moore will sign Charlie Seaman. It's in the club's hands. It's in, the agent's hands, players' hands, Bournemouth's hands if they're still involved. But hopefully we will sign him by the end of this week. So there we go. Thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe for more. We've got some very exciting content coming over the next few weeks with match reviews, match previews, daily reports, everything under the sun that you guys can enjoy for yourself. So for now, guys, I am the CHALL, your Doncaster Rovers fan channel, and that, my friends, is the final whistle. Cheers. Have a nice day.